Hello, boys and girls. Greg here from the Scary Spirits podcast to make you another cocktail. Tonight's cocktail is the Cannibal. I'm going to start. Shaker with ice. To that, 1 ounce tequila. Haven't done many drinks with tequila. 1 ounce of tequila. And then 2 ounces white grape juice. 2 ounces. 1, 2. And then we shake. Next, take our rocks glass with ice. Pour drink in. And then add some drops of grenadine. And there you have the Cannibal. Not bad. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
A creepy house on the beach. A killer that is ruled by the moon. Mad scientists. Cannibalism. And synthetic flesh. This week's movie on the Scary Spirits podcast, Dr. X, has it all, with one very glaring message. In a room full of suspects, don't count anyone out, even if it seems obvious. Okay, wait, maybe 2 messages. Don't handcuff yourself to a chair when there is possibly a killer in the room. So many life lessons in this one. Cheers.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go. Hi, I'm Greg.
Hey, I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. A podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great. How are you, Greg?
I'm okay.
Oh no, we've plummeted to okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
I could have said, oh, Karen, I'm swinging low today. But no, I'm good. All right, Karen, anything we need to cover before we get into the film this week?
Yeah, we have to remind everyone of the contest.
Oh, yeah. Is that still going on?
It's going on till the end of the month.
Okay. The end of the month or August 1st at 12 midnight?
Well, you made it August 1st because you're a kind soul.
Yeah. I want to give everybody, extra 24 hours.
All your procrastinating friends. Those are my people, not yours.
Yeah. So how would our procrastinating friends enter this contest, Karen?
It's simple. All you have to do is email us at info@scaryspirits.com.
Or you know what they could do, Karen?
What?
They could probably go to the website, scaryspirits.com, and click on the contact us and just fill that out and put contest in the subject and their name.
Their name in the body of the email. However you do it.
Yeah, you do
just
you.
Yeah, whatever makes you happy. And you will be automatically entered to win a $100 Amazon gift card. So email us today.
Yeah, and we'll pick a winner at random
And we'll
shortly
let you know.
after August 1st. And if you're the big winner, we will send you an email and we'll get your information and send you an Amazon gift card via snail mail, Karen. They still call it that?
I think we do. I don't know if the cool kids do, but.
All right. Well, it is what it is.
$100, people. Come on.
Hi, Karen. I believe this film was my choice, was it?
It was your choice.
Episode 64 of the Scary Spirits podcast.
What did you choose for us today, Greg?
Karen, I chose the 1932 film, Dr. X.
Because?
I don't think I have any reason.
You wanted to see Ray again.
Because I wanted to. Well, here's a reason.
Okay.
So the full moon plays a pretty important part in this film. Does it not, Karen?
It definitely does.
When this episode goes live on July 13th, it is the full moon.
Oh, you should have led with that.
Well, that's probably why I chose it, but I couldn't remember until I looked at my calendar and said, oh yeah, it's a full moon. So that is why, probably.
Just go with it. It's totally why.
Karen, I also have a cocktail for this film.
Of course you do. What is it?
Karen, the cocktail I have chosen is called the Cannibal.
Nice.
Would you like to know how to make it?
I would.
We're going to take our shaker with ice. To that, we're going to pour in 1 ounce of tequila, one of our rare tequila drinks, this one, Karen.
Yeah.
And 2 ounces of white grape juice.
Shake, shake, shake.
Then we shake. Then we pour into a rocks glass over ice. Well, that's what I did anyway. And then you add 2 to 5 drops of grenadine. And then, Karen, you enjoy.
Awesome.
I found this cocktail on food.com.
A reputable source. Give the people some time to gather their ingredients and make this lovely drink.
All right. Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
It's a simple drink to make, right? It's like 3 ingredients.
I think they can handle it.
3 ounces. It's another one of those that could like fit in one of them shooter glasses, just like the Black Death, Karen.
You do like those. Although this one's not all alcohol.
It is not. It's 2/3 grape juice. Karen, might you have a brief synopsis for us of the 1932 film, Dr. X?
I do.
Please tell me a story.
New York City reporter Lee Taylor is doing a piece on a series of grisly cannibalistic murders that have all been committed under the full moon. Police soon begin to suspect that the murderer works at the lab of Dr. Jerry Xavier, a mysterious Long Island researcher who is doing an investigation of his own. Antsy for an inside story, Taylor breaks into the lab where he meets and falls in love with Dr. Xavier's daughter, Joan. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
You didn't? Are you being sarcastic or you really didn't?
No, I really didn't.
All right, I'll point out the pertinent events to you.
Thank you, Karen, for that revealing synopsis.
It was kind of revealing. It didn't give away the whole thing, but there's still some suspense. Stay tuned.
Are we ready to get into it?
I think so. Let's give the people what they want.
All right. Dr. X, 1932, pre-code film, Karen.
Watched on Amazon Prime.
Watched on Amazon Prime. Right. The first thing that popped up on my screen was rated NR. Not rated. Then we have credits. And during the credits, Karen, I noticed that there are two people in this film with the same last name of Wray. Did you notice that? I saw that
too. I did.
Did you wonder if they were related, Karen?
Are they married?
No relation, Karen.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I figured Faye Ray got her husband a job.
Nope. No relation that I could find. Then opening scene, we're down by the docks, apparently.
Yeah, there's a tugboat in the background.
And at the morgue as well, which apparently is down by the docks.
Yes. The Mott Street morgue.
Yes, and we see a man smoking a Marlboro. We learn later he is a reporter. Did you make a note of his name, Karen?
Not until later.
You did mention him in the synopsis, though.
Yes.
Lee Taylor.
Lee Taylor, yes.
The actor's name is Lee as well, which is...
I saw that.
Interesting, kind of.
There's a full moon.
There is. And at the morgue, we see a car pull up and a bunch of doctors enter.
Yeah.
The press guy, Lee, he tries to enter, but a cop stops him. So he ends up going around a corner to a
he
house?
Does.
Question mark, Karen.
He flashes his badge. It says that he's
press reporter or police reporter or something.
City of New York Police Press, but he still gets turned away. The policeman says no one gets in. So I said, newspaper guy goes to a brothel. Because that's what it seemed like, right?
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
And they did seem to know him there.
Yes. And
but
then
tonight,
he used a payphone, and I'm like, well, first I thought it was a house. First I thought it was Dr. Xavier's house, or however they pronounce his name in this. They pronounce it a couple of different ways. Because, you know, I'd already read the cast, right? And I read that the maid was named Mammy or Mamie.
Mamie, I think.
And I saw a black woman enter the door. So I was, oh, that must be Mammy or Mamie, right? Then he walks in and he goes to a payphone. I'm like, well, what house has a payphone in it, Karen? Besides that one episode of the Brady Bunch. Remember that one?
No.
You know, don't you remember when all the kids were fighting over the phone? And so Mike decided to install a payphone in the house. So the kids had to pay to use the phone.
Nice.
It's a classic. And then hilarity ensued.
Of course. Marsha.
Yes. But yeah, the reporter Lee uses the payphone to call the newspaper office, and he has a story about the moon killer.
It's a brothel.
Okay.
Because he's eyeballing the ladies.
Yeah, because more ladies enter while he's on the phone.
And they're in lingerie. Yes.
Oh, okay. I know what this is.
Did that clear it up for you?
Yes, it's all coming back to me, Karen.
I mean, people talk, you hear things.
Yes.
Yes.
I saw a movie about it once, I think.
Yeah, probably. That must be it.
Next, we're back at the dock with the reporter.
So wait, he called in the story, kind of.
He kind of called in, a headline, and that he's going to have a story, more to come, right?
Right.
And I think he coined the name Moon Killer.
He says they brought in the body of a scrub woman killed under very suspicious circumstances, but they won't let him in.
No.
And then Taylor tells the editor to look out the window, and he sees the full moon. And that's when he calls it the full moon killer.
Correct. Next, we're back at the dock, and reporter Lee is talking to a beat policeman.
A beat cop.
Yeah. And hilarity ensues once again.
Yeah. He uses a hand buzzer.
Did you ever have one of those, Karen?
Trying to think. I probably.
I did.
And anytime any sibling said, shake my hand, you knew. Because why would you shake your sibling's hand? But
yeah, well, I don't have siblings, so.
So who did you get? Your mom? Mom, shake my hand.
Yeah.
Like she wouldn't be suspicious. Nice to meet you, Mom. But then Mike is the beat cop, gives Lee a cigar.
Yes, he does. He asks him for a Marlboro, and he says no, but he does have this cigar, and he pulls it out of his hat.
Yep.
Next, reporter Lee follows an ambulance to the morgue. Next, we're in the morgue, apparently, and we see who we learn is Dr. X examining a body.
Yes, Dr. Xavier.
Apparently, the body has been strangled, and then it has a scalpel wound to the base of the neck. And there is also evidence of cannibalism, Karen.
Yes,
Hence our cocktail.
Yes. So the doc says that it was strangulation by very powerful hands. Look how deeply the thumbs are embedded in the sternocleidomastoid.
I don't know, Dr. Karen.
It is the sternocleidomastoid, which, Greg, is the most superficial and largest muscle in the front portion of the neck.
Is it?
It comes
the hell you say?
It comes from the Latin word sternum is chest, cleido is clavicle, and mastos is breast. And they keep saying that the base of the brain was cut with a scalpel. A scalpel, which was driving me nuts. And then they say
it's 1932, Karen.
The deltoid muscle is torn out by cannibalism. You know what? Your deltoid muscles are in your shoulder.
Are they?
Which is the ball and socket joint that connects your arm to the trunk of your body.
Okay.
Deltoid muscles help you move your arms in different directions. They also protect and stabilize your shoulder joint. They are skeletal muscles.
Cool.
The doc needs to leave. He has an experiment he has to check on.
Yeah. He kind of rushes. Well, he's doing this for the police, right?
I imagine he is.
Yeah. There's Detective O'Halloran is there. And I think the other guy's Steve or something. He kept calling him Steve.
Well, they have more questions for Dr. Xavier. Dr. Xavier tries to run out and the police are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This is the sixth murder in 6 months, all under the full moon.
All on the full moon, yes.
Yeah.
And they asked Dr. Xavier what he thinks. And the doctor suggests that the killer has a neurosis triggered by the moon.
Yes. And all set off by a vivid reminder of the past.
And the detective says that because all the murders occurred near the doctor's academy, he believes it must be one of his students or staff.
And I think they say that the instrument used to cut the brain is only used at his academy too. So there's two things pointing to the academy.
I know they mention it later. I'm not sure if they mention it now.
Yeah, I might have missed it. Dr. Xavier is very insulted by this.
Yes. And the detective agrees to let Dr. X conduct his own investigation.
Because Dr. Xavier doesn't want publicity.
No, he doesn't want the bad pub.
Yeah.
Everything will be ruined.
But right as he says he doesn't want any publicity, Lee raises up as a corpse in the morgue with a toe tag. So the newspaper guy has heard it all.
Heard it all. He was impersonating a body in the morgue. And then he gets up and provides comic relief, I wrote.
Yeah, he's a little freaked out that he's in the morgue.
Next, we see a sign says Academy of Surgical Research. And Wray enters, who we learn is Joanne, Dr. Xavier's daughter. She comes in to say goodnight to her father, but he's in like the file room or some shit in the dark, and he startles her.
Yeah, it was weird because he startles her, but she's going in there to say goodnight to him. So why does she screams?
Yes, I guess because it's dark.
I don't know. But she has a lovely dress on.
I really like the men's clothes in this so far.
Yeah.
I like the overall feel of it. Just the look and everything of it I like so far. But Joanne is worried about her father, Karen.
Yeah, she hovers a little bit over her father. They have a weird relationship. She calls him darling, and I don't know.
I know when you went to kiss her goodnight, I thought they were going to like
lip lock. I know. It was weird.
Stick their tongues in each other's mouths or something.
Their relationship is odd.
Well, Wray and Lionel Atwell, who are the actors, have done a lot of films together. They're probably very familiar, and they've probably done love scenes before. Maybe they were confused.
I don't know. It's just there are times in the movie where it's just odd, their relationship.
Next, we see the detective and Dr. I've started calling him Dr. X right by now. Okay. Actually, sooner than this I have, but I'm starting to call him Dr. X right now. Looking at files.
Yeah, he says the students are away on vacation.
Yes, only the faculty remain. And the detective says he wants to talk to all the doctors who are there on faculty who are staying over break. So here's where we kind of neatly meet all the doctors,
Yes.
First, we meet Dr. Wells, and he studies cannibalism, Karen.
Yes.
He's immediately a prime suspect. We meet him, and he has a heart in a jar that he has kept alive for 3 years.
Yeah, I thought we were going into a Frankenstein-like thing.
The detective starts to question Dr. Wells, but Dr. X interrupts him and asks Dr. Wells how his arm is feeling. And then Dr. Wells removes his hand, revealing he is an amputee. He has a fake hand.
Prosthetic hand.
Prosthetic hand. That's the word I was looking for. So then they believe Dr. Wells is in the clear because he could not possibly strangle anyone with one hand, Karen.
Right. So they write him off. But each professor that you meet has some sort of connection or trait that could tie them back to the murders. So Dr. Wells is studying cannibalism. And then we move on to the next doctor.
Dr. Haynes, Karen. We learn that he was shipwrecked with 2 other doctors, I believe.
2 colleagues, yes.
Yes. And one of the colleagues disappeared, Karen.
They were adrift for 24 days and their supplies were gone and nobody talks about it. But 3 were in the boat, 2 came back.
Yes. But Dr. Hayes said that they threw the missing colleague overboard. But they insinuate
Yes.
he could have resorted to cannibalism. He and possibly his other colleague who survived, correct?
Right. But we don't know who he is, I don't think.
Not yet, we don't.
But he also studies brain grafting. So again, since there were incisions in the brain and he's developed a new brain cell or something, he says.
Yes. And Dr. Haynes does not want the police there. He does make a point to tell Dr. X, get rid of them. Why'd you bring them here? Get rid of them. You don't like them.
Yes, right.
So the police say they will call on him another time. Next, we meet Dr. Rowitz.
Yeah, that took me a while to figure that out.
Apparently, he was shipwrecked with Dr. Haynes, Karen.
Yes. So here is our second possible cannibal.
While they're meeting Dr. Rowitz, Dr. Duke comes rolling in his wheelchair.
He's cranky.
Yes, we learn that Dr. Rowitz studies the moon.
So again, another connection.
Yes, and he explains that the lunar rays may affect certain neurotic people, Karen.
Yes, it says the evil rays of the moon can cause lunacy and it affects only neurotic types. I just put, I'm doomed.
And then the police talk amongst themselves and they make a note that Dr. Rowitz has a disfigured face. And apparently one of the witnesses says the killer's face was horribly disfigured.
All he has is like an eyeglass, like what are the monocle over his eye, right? I kept looking at him.
His chin was kind of funky looking in the lower part of his face. I don't know. It doesn't look near as bad later, though. So I don't know, as I originally thought it was.
So all the doctors seem like they could be the murderer at this point.
We have a good old-fashioned whodunit now, Karen.
Yep.
But the police decide to use Dr. X to find the killer for them. They're like, why should we? This guy wants to do it. Let's let him do the work. Right? That's the feeling I get.
Well, the Xavier said he can find the killer in 48 hours. And they're like, okay.
And we do see reporter Lee sneaking around, eavesdropping on everything.
Yeah, he's on the fire escape. This is the first time Joanne sees him. He says he's a building inspector and he only works nights so he doesn't get sunburned. He's got a real jokester personality. I would call it annoying. Other people might call it charming. I don't know. And then she says, come down off of there or I'll shoot you. She has a gun.
Looked like a 25 caliber to me, Karen.
And yeah, me too. And this is where I said love connection.
I'll let you know when I wrote it.
Okay. Well, I wrote it here, people.
The reporter begins to question Joanne, and he's kind of impersonating a police officer. But I wrote, Joanne is having none of it.
Yeah, he's firing rapid fire questions at him.
And she's pretty dismissive of him. She Shuts him down every time.
She says her father isn't feeling well and shouldn't be disturbed.
Next, we see Detective O'Halloran giving Dr. X 48 hours. They agree. And then Otto, Dr. X's
Butler.
yes, shows the police out. This is where we meet Otto for the first time. And he's kind of a creepy dude himself.
Yeah, he is very creepy. And he definitely shuffles them out the door.
Next, we cut to Lee, the reporter.
He's on the docks during the full moon.
Lights up the cigar the cop gave him earlier. And we see a figure creeping up behind him. And just as he begins to grab him by the neck, the cigar explodes.
It's a gag cigar.
Yes, it must have had a load in it, Karen. That's what they call it, a load. It's a loaded cigar.
So he scares the creepy dude and he's saved.
Next, headline, Karen.
Yeah, we're in the newsroom.
Scrub woman is moon killer's latest victim. There's another article, Karen. The headline reads, Police draft Dr. X to help solve moon killings.
Yeah, and the editor says it's okay, but he wants photos of the doc and an interview. And Lee doesn't want to do it.
He wants to be removed from the story. But in the end, he agrees, right?
I think the editor threatens his job.
Oh, okay.
Says you won't have a job if you don't do it.
Next, we see a sign that says Dr. Xavier Residence.
Yes, that was very helpful. It's a big house.
Like a brass sign, right? Like
yes.
A metal brass sign.
Yes, it's on the house. It's not in the movie.
Yes.
Where they would put it across the bottom.
It is a plaque on the house.
Yes.
And reporter Lee sweet talks the maid Mamie into letting him in. He brings flowers and, whatnot.
She says, "You're not a reporter, are you?" And he says, "Heavens, no," because they've been overrun with them all morning.
But she lets him in and he begins snooping around the house.
Immediately.
Yeah. And he finds framed photos of Joanne and Dr. X, and he removes them from the frames and puts them in his pockets. But just as he's doing that, Joanne comes in and interrupts him, and she busts him, makes him put the pictures back or take him out of his pockets.
They banter back and forth quite a bit.
Lee does come clean, and he begins questioning Joanne, but once again, she is having none of it.
Well, she's angry about the story he wrote the day before.
Yeah. Joanne tells him to leave.
Her dad was so upset he had to leave town to continue his investigation.
And as the reporter is leaving, Mamie drops a bucket of water on him from the upstairs window. Next, we see a train apparently arriving at Blackstone Shoals, Long Island, Karen.
With lots of trunks.
Yes, it drops off 2 trunks.
It's very windy there.
Dr. Xavier at Cliff Manor. Is that what it said?
Yes.
I think it said Cliff Manor.
I don't know. I didn't see. I saw they were for Dr. Xavier.
Yes, it's his beachside estate, Karen. Next, we see all the doctors in the library of the manor, and Dr. X has summoned them all there. He says the scalpel used in the killings can only be found at the Doctor's Academy. He says that any one of them could be the killer, and he intends to conduct an investigation of his own to determine who the killer is.
Yes, he wants to do it quietly, without publicity.
Next, we see reporter Lee arriving in a coach, Karen.
So how did he know where they were?
Don't know. He's a reporter. He asks questions, I guess. He climbs up a drain pipe and he watches the doctors through the window.
Yeah, he went right up that thing.
Yep.
Like a kid on a rope in gym class, right up the side.
And Dr. X wants all of the doctors to submit to a psychoneurological test, Dr. Karen.
Yep.
He hopes to prove them all innocent. And he does insinuate that if one of them is guilty, perhaps suicide would be best.
Yes, he says, perhaps farewell to life would be better than prison, saying farewell to your life. And they all agree.
Does he want the person to commit suicide, or are the others going to kill him? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I assumed it was suicide, but.
Yeah, me too. The men agree, and they are to meet in the laboratory in 10 minutes after they unpack their things. Next, we see reporter Lee, and he leaned him up against the door and goes to light a Marlboro, and he falls right through the door, Karen. I'm not sure where he is. It almost looks like a laboratory, but it's not the laboratory we see later, right?
I think it's a kitchen.
Yeah, I think so.
Because
too.
there's an ironing board and.
Yes, there's, hilarity ensues once again.
Well, he spills salt and he's superstitious. So he throws it over his left shoulder.
He knocks the ironing board over and it falls out of the wall. And
yeah, he's getting scared over and over with little jump scares.
So why do you throw salt over your shoulder, Karen, when you spill it? I never understood that.
Why do you toss it over your left shoulder? So you don't do that when you spill salt? You just let it sit there?
I don't spill salt.
Oh, okay.
But it has to be your left shoulder?
Yeah.
He did it over his right, I think. Or maybe he used his right hand and threw it over his left.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go on.
Some people believe that the devil hangs out around behind your left shoulder, waiting to take advantage of you. If you spill salt, the devil sees it as an invitation to step in and do evil. Throwing it over your shoulder into his face blinds him and renders him helpless.
Well, that explains why I've never done that, Karen.
And then in ancient times, salt was expensive and so precious that in some civilizations, it was even used as currency. Spilling salt was tantamount to throwing away money, and only the devil would cause someone to act with such foolishness. Tossing a pinch over your shoulder would blind the devil and make him think twice about trying to trick you again. So yeah, you like
so
the
wasting
devil.
more currency would make it all better. Is that what they're saying there?
Apparently, but it gets the devil off your shoulder.
What a fool believes. Next, reporter Lee goes upstairs and he is frightened when Butler Otto comes out of a room carrying the torso of a skeleton, Karen.
So weird. And the ice in the drinks are clinking, so it'd be like the bones were rattling.
Next, we see Joanne and Mamie, the maid. Mamie shows Joanne her room. Mamie does not like the house, though. She is scared.
Yes, her teeth are chattering.
Next, we see reporter Lee snooping around some more, but he hears Otto.
Lab. Yeah.
Yeah, he hears Otto and Mamie coming. So he hides in a closet and discovers it is full of skeletons, Karen.
And hilarity ensues again.
Yeah, looks like one of my closets, Karen.
With all the skeletons in it, or because you...
Yes. I do have skeletons in my closet, Karen, literally.
Everyone does, Greg.
Next, Dr. X asks Mamie and Otto to recreate the murder of the scrub woman. They even have her clothes from the morgue, and Mamie is to put them on, but she's not happy about it. Otto will portray the killer.
I thought Otto was the killer at this point. I was suspicious of him.
Next, we cut back to the reporter in the closet with the skeletons, and we have more comic relief. That's all I'm going to say about it. The doctors all enter the lab. Dr. X has the doctors all sit in chairs, and they connect electrodes to their wrists, Karen. Apparently, the Dr. X has a theory about blood and pulse and heart rate and excitability. I don't know. But Dr. Duke does not like the moon shining through the window. He asks the curtains to be closed, and Dr. X agrees. So this is the second night of the full moon, right?
At least. Yes.
Okay. And Dr. X explains that the killer must have two hands to, commit the crimes because they can tell from the marks around the neck, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Dr. Wells is excused from the experiment. He will run all the machinery monitoring them. Reporter Lee is listening from the closet. But Karen, there's a peephole behind one of the skeletons, and we see an eyeball. And then someone begins to pump smoke of some sort into the closet. And it makes the reporter fall asleep, ? I wrote. At this point, I didn't know if he was asleep or gone.
Yeah, I think I said he falls asleep. So Dr. Xavier comes back to turn on the 100
milliamp high frequency coil, Karen.
Yep, the milliamp high frequency coil. I can't read my own writing.
And he explains that each action of the heart will be amplified 4,000 times. I guess making it easy to see extreme changes in pulse and heart rate.
Yes, it measures pulse rate.
And they're all connected to like some big tube with liquid in it. And once, the higher the liquid goes, the more heart activity and pulse and shit there's going on.
Dr. Xavier says one of them at an earlier point in their life was driven to cannibalism.
Yes.
The memory of that act hammered like a nail in the mind. He can conceal it from others and even himself, but not from the radio sensitivity. So the thermal tube will betray the murderer. He said
Yes.
only Dr. X knows which tube belongs to which doctor. So it's not the tube right in front of you. And as your heart rate accelerates, the red liquid rises. Whoever gets their liquid to be the top of the tube is the big winner. They're the murderer.
Next, Dr. X shows them examples of the victims of the murders.
Yeah, they look like.
So where'd they get these people?
I don't know. Are they wax figurines or what?
I don't know, but they're not, because one of them they're all kind of moving slightly because you can't stand still.
Yeah, I don't think they're supposed to be moving though. I think.
Okay.
But yeah, he got those quickly. Or are they embalmed? Maybe they're embalmed people.
I don't know.
I don't know where they came from, but they light them from above like they're on display. And he explains each story. This person was killed on the docks. This person was killed in their hospital bed. He explains each story of what's happened to them.
Next, Otto and Mamie reenact the most recent killing of the scrub woman.
The big show starts then.
And Dr. X throws the lights. He turns the lights off just as the murder is about to happen.
I just said the lights go out. I didn't know if he did it or.
Lights come on and the tubes reveal that Dr. Rowitz is the killer. But they turn the lights on and find that he gone. He been murdered.
Yeah.
Just like the other victims.
Yes. With the cut at the base of the brain.
And they also notice that Dr. Duke is up and walking around, Karen.
Yeah, it's a miracle.
He's supposed to be bound to a wheelchair, I thought.
Yeah, so it's another way of throwing more suspicion on him.
But then Dr. X goes to look for Dr. Wells because he should have come into the laboratory when the contacts around the wrist were removed from any of the other doctors. I guess that should have thrown an alarm in the control room or something. Next, we see Dr. Wells, and he's like falling through a glass door or some shit.
Yeah, it's like I thought he was thrown through the glass door.
And he tells Dr. X that someone struck him on the head as he was heading to the laboratory.
Yeah, somebody called his name, and then he got his noggin knocked.
Next, I believe it's Otto, but he discovers the reporter in the closet. They open the door, and he falls in to the hallway. And they give him something to drink to revive him, Karen. I think they asked for water, but I don't think that's what they gave him.
I don't think it's water either. Because when he falls into the kitchen area, what he sees there is a still. So.
Well, that's what he calls it.
So I think.
But they give him a flask.
They give him a little something.
And
some moonshine.
Yeah. Joanne's the only one who knows who he is. So he tells them all that he is a reporter.
She tells them, yeah.
And then they try to prevent him from reporting his story.
Yes, Dr. Xavier says, watch him, no phone, and don't let him leave.
Yes, and Joanne tries to talk him out of calling the newspaper and telling the story.
She's flirting with him. You didn't notice now that she's flirting with him?
Joanne convinces the reporter to stay the night and wait to tell his story. He agrees as long as he can have breakfast with Joanne and maybe a swim.
Yeah, see?
I think they have made a love connection.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm finally glad you saw it here.
Well, this is when it first appears.
No, you can tell
she shoots him down every other time.
There's banter, Greg. Banter.
Whatever.
Gotta read between the lines. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We appreciate you spending time with us. You know, you can help us grow our audience by following us on social media at Scary Spirits Podcast. Just look for us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And don't forget to tell all your friends to find us too. Now let's get back to the show.
Next, Otto shows the reporter to his room.
He interrupts their flirting. and gets him to his room.
Next, Karen, it's midnight. We see the clock.
Yes, we do.
And a door slamming apparently wakes Joanne. And she goes to look for her father and finds him in the lab examining Dr. Rowett's body. And while they're in there, Dr. Haynes comes in to examine the body too.
Yes.
But they tell Joanne to go back to bed.
And Dr. Xavier promises Joanne he'll be right up to bed.
But the two doctors discovered that the body has been cannibalized, Karen.
They look at each other and they say, since we've been here, the body has been dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, they don't say
And they
it.
don't say it, but you know.
We know. But they
'Cause
don't
we're
want
smarties.
Joanne to know.
No, not poor Joanne.
No. Next, apparently it's the next day, Karen. We see reporter Lee and Joanne at the beach,
Having a good time, Charlie's.
I suppose.
Laughing and flirting.
I guess. Joanne does have a customized bathing suit, I noticed. Monogrammed
Yes.
JX.
But
And
she
I'm pretty
notices.
sure if she went swimming in that, she would lose her top because it's really loose.
It looks again like wool.
What's
Like it would-
1932 bathing
Like
suit?
when you
Karen?
came out of the water, it would stretch down to your knees. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But then Joanne sees that someone is watching them. And then Joanne tells the reporter Lee what she saw the previous night, that her father was bent over Dr. Rowett's body.
She implies she saw something really horrible that she can't say. So again, we're implementing Dr. Xavier now.
Next, we see Mamie, and she is hysterical, Karen. She's in bed.
She doesn't want to do any more
She
reenactments.
cannot go through another reenactment. And Dr. Wells assures her that Dr. X will make other arrangements. She doesn't have to if she doesn't want to.
Dr. Wells gives her a sedative.
Next, we see Dr. X asking Joanne where reporter Lee is. No one has seen him.
They can't find him.
Dr. X is afraid that he is called in his story. But next, we cut to reporter Lee walking down the dark hallway with a flashlight, Karen.
Yeah, it's
And the
weird. I don't know
Batteries are
where he
going
is.
Dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we see a figure starting to come out of the darkness, but it stops just as it is about to grab reporter Lee. Then reporter Lee falls through a trapdoor.
Why does it not choke him?
I don't know. I think that's when the battery goes dead and he slaps the flashlight. I don't know. Next, we cut back to Mamie, and she is reading her tea leaves, Karen.
Yes, and it's not good.
Yeah, skull and bones. Death. So she pulls out a bottle of something from behind her pillow, Karen.
To steady her nerves.
Yeah, what do you think it is? Did you read the label?
I did not. I
I did
just
not
knew it was
either.
liquor.
It's liquor.
Yep.
Next, the police call Dr. X. They want to send someone out while they do their experiment that night.
I thought they had sent someone out. I thought he said they hadn't. Wasn't that who was watching Lee and Joanne on the beach? Who was that watching them?
I think that was Otto.
Oh, okay.
But the police eventually agree to give Dr. X until midnight to find the killer. But they have someone prepared to drive out there at exactly midnight. Might be a long drive because everybody else had to take a train.
I know. I don't really get that, but okay.
Except for reporter Lee. Well, he was on a stage or a coach, horse-drawn
He
coach.
must have
but-
come from I figured he took the train and then took a coach.
Coach. Okay. And then Joanne agrees to take Mamie's place in that night's reenactment.
She begs to do it. She doesn't just agree. She's like, please, please let me do it.
11 p.m., Karen.
Yeah, they have 1 hour to prove
Apparently,
all
it's
this.
this the, what is this? The
Third time.
night?
Third
night of
night.
the full moon.
Yep.
And during this night's reenactment, all of the doctors will be handcuffed to their chairs. So they will all be safe, Karen.
But this experiment already failed because it was Rowitz was designated the killer, but he got killed. So they're just doing again.
Well, maybe his like blood boiled over in that tube or whatever, the liquid, because he was being killed at the time.
I guess. Okay.
You know?
This already, in my mind, didn't work, but okay.
No, well, there's no control, Karen.
Very good. There you go.
winging
Well,
it.
presumably the non-murderers are the controls, but they found
They don't have anyone there that they know could not have, absolutely positive. Like they don't have one of the cops there being a control because they know probably that he didn't do it.
But I guess maybe so his heart rate went up because he was murdered. Okay.
Yes.
That makes sense. I thought he was murdered after that. I thought, okay, he's the murderer.
He's being strangled.
Yeah.
It's going to make your heart rate go up, I think.
Yes. I understand now. I missed that. I thought he was killed after the reenactment.
Then you feel a scalpel in your base of your neck.
Yes, right. That will get your blood going.
Yes. So next we see Otto and Joanne preparing for the reenactment. And Otto's being a little creepy right here.
Yeah, that's why I was saying I thought it was him.
But Otto tells Joanne that no matter what, to keep her eyes closed and relax.
Yeah, he was being really weird.
He was.
That's why I thought it was him.
So all the doctors except for Dr. Wells are handcuffed to the chairs. And Dr. Duke protests.
Again.
Dr. X tells Otto to bolt all the doors and he knows the rest. Which I wasn't sure what that meant. I thought maybe Dr. X knew who the killer was at this point, but apparently not. Next, we see Dr. Wells looking at the full moon on the third night, Karen, of the full moon. And he removes his prosthetic hand. And we see Otto bolting the doctors into their chairs. I think they're like double handcuffed or some shit.
They can't move.
Or he's placing electrodes on them, whatever. Next, we see Dr. Wells taking what appears to be a hand.
He gets his monster hand from a closet.
Behind the trapdoor closet behind the bookshelf. And he says it's synthetic flesh.
Yes, he's very excited about it.
Yes. Dr. Wells throws the switch on the equipment and he sticks his artificial hand into the Tesla coil I wrote.
I don't know why he's doing this either.
He's electrocuting his hand and it looked like he's enjoying it.
Yeah, was he melting it so he could spread it on his face?
No. Then Dr. Wells takes more synthetic flesh and rubs it all over his face and head.
It looks like frosting, kind of, as he's doing that. But it's like there are with synthetic flesh.
Yeah, it's voiced over. He's not saying it. It's voiced over later.
Yeah. But I was thinking, so he's putting it all over his face, right?
Yes.
So, and I'm thinking at this point, he's going to transform himself into one of the other doctors. So it looks like, I thought he was turning himself into Dr. X because the movie's called Dr. X. And I thought, that'd be a cool twist if he formed his face to look like the other doctor.
Yeah, had some kind of like silly putty that would do that.
Yeah, I don't know. But that's not what it was. He's just putting on why does he need to do that? It's weird.
Oh, no. He's neurotic, Karen.
True.
So Dr. Wells puts his face into a dehumidifier or something. Or what was it called? I know it wasn't a dehumidifier. Was it? No, it was humidifier, I guess, right?
I don't know. It looked like a bowl of water to me.
Yeah, so Dr. Wells puts his face into a humidifier.
So he's basically got a new ugly face.
Yeah, and the putty kind of forms a ugly face, right?
Yeah.
With hair and everything coming through.
Yes, but it's synthetic flesh.
Dr. Wells takes a secret passage to the room where Otto is preparing for the reenactment. Dr. Wells strangles Otto. He gone, pretty sure.
Yep.
The reenactment starts and we see Joanne laying on a hospital bed.
She's scared because she sees it isn't Otto.
Dr. Wells enters and begins to strangle Joanne. All the other doctors are handcuffed to their chairs so they can do nothing.
She screams, "It's the killer!"
The doctor calls for Otto and Wells. Here's where Wells reveals himself to be the killer. He says he is Wells. And he throws the keys to the handcuffs at the feet of the doctors.
He says there is no Wells.
Dr. Duke tries to reach the keys with his bad leg. Wells explains how he created artificial flesh from the flesh of his victims.
Yes, he says he didn't go to Africa to study cannibalism. He wanted the flesh from the humans that they ate.
Yes.
He needed live flesh. He's very proud of his synthetic flesh. And he says he can make a crippled world whole again, which is actually not a terrible goal. He just kind of went about it in a kind of a terrible way.
Next, the reporter rushes in and punches Dr. Wells.
Yeah, Lee sees his hero moment and he seizes it.
They fight.
They do.
Wells tries to strangle the reporter.
It looks like Wells is winning. And Joanne finally gets up off the table.
Yes.
So she can give the keys to the scientists.
Yes. She does hesitate for quite a while there.
She does.
Next, we see Wells and the reporter fighting some more. Eventually, the reporter throws a lamp at Wells, catching him on fire, and he pushes him through a window. Wells falls to his death at the beach.
He's a big flame ball on the ground.
Yes.
He burns for quite a while. It must, synthetic flesh must be flammable.
Next, reporter Lee calls the paper. He tells them that Dr. X should get full credit for finding the killer. More news to come. Then was he talk about an announcement or something after a trip to Europe or some shit?
Well, Joanne said that she was going to take her dad to Europe to rest. So when she gets back, there's going to be a big announcement because they're in love.
Yes. Next, Joanne and reporter Lee have a moment.
Yes, they do.
They embrace, and the reporter turns out the light.
And then buzzes her with the buzzer, the hand buzzer.
The end. All right, Karen, anything you really enjoyed or were pleasantly surprised by in this pre-code film from 1932 starring Wray and Lionel Atwell?
I liked the mystery of it. It was kind of like an Agatha Christie, where anyone could be the murderer, and I guessed wrong.
Yeah, as I was watching it, I was wondering, is this the first film to ever use this, whodunit kind of gather all the suspects, and you know what I mean?
I don't
kind
know.
of become a trope, right?
Yes, but I liked it in this instance because
But I think that goes way, way back, even to like silent films, because I think that's pretty sure that's kind of how the plot of like London After Midnight, the last film, is.
But the police, when they meet each doctor has something suspicious about him that could make him the murderer. And Otto was just creepy.
Yes.
So I thought, that's why I picked him. But did you have an idea of who you thought did it?
I already knew, Karen.
Oh, from reading the background? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think about it, they kept saying it couldn't possibly be him. So of course that's who it's going to be.
I mean, the only people it absolutely isn't probably are reporter Lee and Joanne, right?
Right. And Mamie. So I liked that about it a lot. I really didn't know who they were going to pin it on. And it was going further and further and further.
Did you change your mind from time to time who you thought it might be?
No, I kind of always thought it was Otto because he just creeped me out. And they were letting him reenact it. And so I thought, oh, okay, he's going to strangle this person and whatever. So I liked that about it.
Kept you guessing.
Yeah.
Kind of.
What about you? What did you like?
Well, like I said, I like the whole gather all the suspects and the whole whodunit trope thing, and I like that. Well,
like you said, the wardrobe was fantastic.
Yeah, I really
everybody looked good.
Yeah,
I thought that was, as always, that's one of my favorite things in these old movies are the gowns and the shoes, and like you said, even the men looked cool in this.
Yeah, their hats and suits and all that. Yeah, all that 1930s.
I think men should wear hats. I like that look.
Yeah, I like the look. I guess the acting was okay. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I didn't like. I thought Wray was over the top. I thought Mamie was over the top. I really didn't like Lee. He was too lighthearted for the seriousness of the whole thing. There were murders, lots of them.
The guy who played Lee is known for Apparently, he played lots of fast-talking, wisecracking news reporters, press agent, lawyers, and salesmen.
I'm sure that was probably a stereotype back then, but it just didn't seem to fit to me. It just seemed had too much levity for the situation. Nothing really fazed him.
No. And every time he was on screen, it was like comic relief, right?
Right. I didn't particularly care for him, which is unfortunate because he's a main player. So that's what I didn't like. What about you?
What I didn't like. Yeah, I didn't like all the slapstick that much, you know? I mean, there was too much of it. You know what I mean? It was
it was constant. He never seemed serious. And I thought she was over the top. Well, I don't know if she was over the top or the relationship between her and her father, like we mentioned earlier, was just weird. It just seemed like they were almost lovers and not father-daughter, the way they spoke to each other. But that's the script.
I didn't like Fay Ray's hair either, Karen.
I thought she was beautiful, though. She really is a beautiful woman. A couple of times while I was watching it, I thought, wow, she's just really pretty. Oh, you and your high standards. It's you and you need long hair.
I think she's a redhead in this. Is she?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
When the movie poster, she's kind of portrayed as a auburn colored hair, you know?
Nice.
And this is one of those like early color films. So it's only really in 2 colors, but you kind of get a sense for it, right?
Yeah, she wore some jewel colored gowns. Like I remember a green one for sure that was just vivid compared to the surroundings.
Anything else didn't like?
No, I thought otherwise it was good. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. What kind of cocktail rating I'm going to give this film, Karen? How many cocktails? I haven't even finished one yet.
I don't know. Is it a 3 or a 4? I like the whole whodunit thing. I really thought they did that well.
I think it's a 3.
They were subtle, but they let you know that every single doctor could be a suspect. And they kept it going with each one. Like Duke walks when he's not supposed to be able, everybody has their suspicion. Haynes was looking at the body. So was Xavier. Like each time, like, well, maybe it's, oh no, it kept you guessing, which I liked a lot.
And it's a good looking film just in general. All the sets, costumes, wardrobe, all that. It's all very good looking, right?
Even the labs, they had a lot of dry ice bubbling around, but they put effort into every piece of it. When you were in a lab, you knew it. The overall film, like you said, everything had nice touches.
So 3?
Yeah, 3.
All right, anything we learned today?
Oh, well, let me quiz you.
Are you going to ask me about sternocleidomastoid?
Sternocleidomastoid.
Or are you going to ask me about deltoid muscles?
Take your pick. Which one you want to do?
Or perhaps the Brady Bunch.
Maybe the Brady Bunch. Or maybe why you throw salt over your shoulder, your left shoulder.
Well, I do not remember what sternocleidomastoid is.
It's the muscles in your neck.
Muscles in your neck.
They run on each side of your neck. So when he's strangling, they were saying the thumbs went into, I don't know how you would know that. I guess it would be a bruise, but
yeah,
they would be over the muscle. It wouldn't be, your thumbs wouldn't be in the muscle.
It would leave like ligature marks or whatever.
Bruises.
Yes. So we learned lots of anatomy this week. Is that what you're telling me, Karen?
Well, I tried.
Anything else we
learned I did look up because they kept saying that it was a unique scalpel that was used only in their academy, but I couldn't find anything. I didn't do a deep dive,
sure
but
BS.
I couldn't find anything that said that there was a scalpel used specifically for brain.
Scalpel?
For brain surgery.
Learned a little about superstitions and spilling salt.
Yeah, I think it's a good whodunit. But now that you've listened to this, you know who it is. So
yeah,
we've ruined it.
Sorry. Wow. But we're delightful.
True, we always are. Well, I hope we are.
All right, what do you think of the cocktail, Karen?
It's okay.
It is okay.
It's better than I thought it would be.
Me too.
I thought when I read it, I was like, ugh. But I
I
kind
feel
of
like I
like
can
it.
still taste the tequila a little bit in it.
Yeah, I liked it. It's not my favorite, but it certainly isn't.
It's not making my clothes fall off, Karen.
Not yet.
I'd have to have a lot more, I think.
We'll wait. Have another, Greg.
It's only 1 ounce of tequila. Isn't that the song?
I think it is, but
Okay,
I don't
know.
I hope so, or we're going to sound
I
extra,
know.
or we're going to sound extra weird.
All right. Anything else we learned? Next film's your choice, then, right?
It is.
All right. Episode 65, Karen. What do you got?
It's from 1948.
1948. Sounds like a B movie.
Well, it's me. It is The Monkey's Paw.
Oh, okay. So The Monkey's Paw from 1948.
And I have seen this one before, but it's been a very long time. What was the Saturday night show in
Bob Shreve's
Yes.
Pastime Playhouse.
That's where I watched it. And I watched it. A boyfriend was at my house and we watched it together.
A boyfriend?
I actually had
that late at night?
Yep. We were sitting in the living room. Everybody else was asleep. Bill and I watched it. And we actually watched it.
1948 British horror film.
Yes.
Okay. But it's kind of, The Monkey's Paw, it's like I know the story of The Monkey's Paw, right? It's like
it's based on a story. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because I just pulled it up on Wikipedia and the plot summary is basically the summary of the story, The Monkey's Paw.
Yes. I think they stick pretty close to the story.
Like it's a 1-sentence plot summary, Karen.
Well, don't spoil it.
I won't. Do we have a cocktail?
We do.
Okay.
Shockingly called
Yes.
Monkey Paw.
Monkey Paw. And what are we going to need?
2 ounces of Jamaican rum, which I think
Okay.
is the dark rum, right?
Probably, yeah.
1 ounce of orange brandy.
Orange brandy.
That's Grand Marnier.
Okay.
2 ounces of pineapple juice.
Okay.
Club soda to top.
Okay. Not Sprat.
Nope, club soda. I suppose you could put Sprite in, but you're going to sweeten it up a little bit. I just want to see. I actually remember pieces of this movie, and I want to see.
Well, you should. You and Bill stayed up and watched the whole thing.
I'm just wondering if I'm confusing it with another movie or if it's really the one we watched. Because I think there might have been another one. Well, we'll see. That was more Egyptian. I'm pretty sure this is it.
Pretty sure.
Well, I'll find out.
Well, there have been a number of novels and stories from The Monkey's Paw.
Yeah, I think it's been
Dang.
remade too.
There's a 1933 version. Yeah, there's a 1903, 1907, 1915, 1919, 1923, 1933, 1948, which is the one.
Yeah,
we're doing.
I'm concerned it might be the 1933 that I watched, but I kind of think it was 48.
1961. Some of these are TVs though. Like even Alfred Hitchcock Hour had one in 1965. 1970 on Orson Welles' Great Mysteries television show.
So it's popular.
Actually, they say Pet Cemetery is a retelling of the story.
Oh,
I kind of get that.
yeah.
In 2004, adaptation as a radio play narrated by Sir Christopher Lee, Karen,
Ooh.
on the BBC radio drama series, Sir Christopher Lee's Fireside Tales. Of course, It
Nice.
wasn't called Sir Christopher Lee's Fireside Tales, but that's what I'm calling it. And then most recently, a 2013 film, The Monkey's Paw.
Well, people should recognize it then.
Yeah, I'm going to say I've heard the story several times. Know the story, right?
Yes. Yes. Most people do, but we'll give it a whirl.
Okay. All right. Anyone you need to thank this week, Karen?
I want to thank all our listeners. Thanks for sticking with us. We know there's a lot of podcasts out there. Thanks for spending time with us.
Yes. Thank you. We appreciate your support.
Yes, we do.
And our numbers are going crazy, Karen. What's up with that shit?
Somebody likes us in Texas.
Apparently. So if you're in Texas, you rock.
Who do you need to thank, Greg?
Thanks for asking, Karen. I need to thank the band Verse 13 once again for providing all the music in the Scary Spirits podcast.
The music definitely makes the podcast better.
Yes, you can find links to their Bandcamp page in the show notes. You can go there and listen to all their fabulous haunting music.
Excellent.
Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.